The scorched plains of Vakresh 7 stretched endlessly beneath a violet sky, littered with the remnants of a battle that had turned the once verdant colony into ash. Elara Ven stood among the ruins, her exosuit cracked and leaking coolant, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Blood seeped through a gash in her side, but she held her ground. Behind her, pressed against the collapsed wall of what had once been a nursery, cowered cub Rix. The Vikresh were a proud species, apex predators on their homeworld, standing 8 feet tall with obsidian scales and eyes that burned like molten copper. Their young, however, were fragile in their first solar cycle, soft-furred, vulnerable, unable to speak beyond instinctive chirps and cries. Rix was barely 3 months old, separated from its clutch when the raiders struck. Elara had found the cub trembling in the wreckage, its scales not yet hardened, its voice too small to call for help. She didn't hesitate. Humans rarely did when something helpless needed protecting. Now, 6 raiders from the Krell Syndicate advanced through the smoke, their targeting systems locked on her biosignature. The Krell were scavengers, profiteers who sold Vakresh cubs to the highest bidder collectors, gladiatorial pits, research facilities that cared nothing for sentient rights. They wore patchwork armor and carried plasma rifles salvaged from a dozen different wars. "Human," the lead raider hissed through his translator, his voice a mechanical rasp. "Step aside. The specimen belongs to us." Alara's hand tightened on her sidearm, though her vision swam with blood loss. She had maybe 2 shots left. The raiders numbered 6. The math was simple, brutal, inevitable. "Over my dead body," she said, her voice steady despite the pain. The Krell leader chittered something that might have been laughter. "That can be arranged." Behind her, Rix made a sound, a high-pitched keen that vibrated with fear. Elara didn't look back, she couldn't afford to. Instead, she shifted her weight, positioning herself more firmly between the cub and the advancing raiders. "Why?" the Krell asked, genuinely curious. "It's not even your species. You gain nothing from this." Elara smiled, though it was more grimace than grin. "That's the thing you'll never understand. We don't need a reason." The first shot came without warning. Elara dove sideways, returning fire as plasma bolts scorched the air where she'd stood. 1 raider dropped, a smoking hole in his chest. 5 left, her weapon clicked empty. She rolled to her feet, drawing a combat knife from her boot. The raiders spread out, circling like the predators they pretended to be, but they weren't predators. They were opportunists, bullies who preyed on the weak. And Elara Ven had spent her entire military career teaching bullies what happened when humans got angry. The second raider lunged. She sidestepped, driving her blade up through the gap in his armor plating. He fell gurgling. 4 left. Pain exploded in her shoulder as a plasma bolt grazed her, spinning her around. She stumbled but kept her feet, kept moving, kept herself between them and Rix. Another raider closed in. She blocked his strike, head-butted him hard enough to crack his faceplate, then drove her knife into his throat. 3 left. But her strength was fading. Blood pooled beneath her boots. Her vision tunneled. The remaining raiders sensed weakness. They moved in together, coordinated, professional. Elara raised her knife one last time, knowing it wouldn't be enough. A plasma bolt struck her square in the chest. The impact threw her backward. She crashed to the ground beside Rix, her exosuit sparking, the world fading to gray at the edges. Through the haze of pain, she heard the cub's desperate cries, felt its small body press against her side. "Sorry, kid," she whispered, tasting copper. "I tried." The raiders approached, weapons raised to finish the job. One bent down to grab Rix, who shrieked in terror. And then something changed. Rix's cry shifted, deepened, became something more than fear. The cub's eyes blazed suddenly bright, copper fire igniting in pupils too young to have known such intensity. Its small body thrummed with energy, with awakening consciousness, with ancestral memory flooding through neural pathways designed for survival. "Mark them all!" Rix screamed, and though the words were in the Vikresh tongue, Elara somehow understood them. The sky above Vakresh 7 tore open. 3 Vakresh warships materialized from Quantum Fold, their arrival so sudden that reality itself seemed to shudder. Each vessel was a kilometer of weaponized fury, bristling with plasma batteries and kinetic railguns, their hulls etched with the clan symbols of Rix's bloodline. The raiders froze, weapons suddenly useless toys in their trembling hands. A targeting laser painted each raider in succession, red dots blooming on their foreheads like execution marks. Rix's voice carried across the communication channels, amplified by the warship's systems, speaking with authority no 3-month-old should possess. These 3 harmed the human who protected me. These 3 would have taken me. Mark them. Remember their genetic signatures. Hunt them across every star they flew to. Let no shadow hide them. Let no distance save them. The warship's AI systems recorded, cataloged, sentenced. The 3 remaining raiders ran. They would run for the rest of their very short lives. Medic drones descended like silver angels, surrounding Alara's broken body. Gentle manipulators lifted her carefully, med foam sealing her wounds, nanites racing to repair catastrophic damage. She felt herself rising, felt consciousness slipping away, but not before she saw Rix standing tall despite its small size, scales beginning to darken with maturity accelerated by trauma and necessity. The last thing Alara heard before darkness took her was the cub's voice. Softer now, speaking directly to her through the medical drone's translator. You didn't need a reason, human. But I will give you one anyway. You will be remembered. Your name will be taught to every cub of my clan. Alara Ven, who stood when she could have run. Who bled so one small life might continue? A pause, then words that would echo across Vakresh society for generations. Humans don't need reasons to be heroes. That's what makes them terrifying. Alara Ven smiled as unconsciousness claimed her. Knowing she would wake in a medical bay, knowing she had done what humans always did when faced with cruelty and helplessness. She had chosen kindness. And the galaxy would remember.